Ladies, let me tell you something right now. Men, we're simple. We really are. Don't let us fool you with all the tough talk, the swag, or the cologne we borrowed from our cousin. Deep down, we are the easiest puzzle you will ever solve. Now, I know some of y'all came here thinking I'm about to reveal some kind of magic trick. Like I'm about to tell you, bat your eyelashes 3 times, flip your hair twice, and boom, he's yours. No, ma'am, that's TV. Real life don't work like that. But there is one move that makes a man stop in his tracks, sit up straight, and start rethinking his whole life. And that move is this: respect yourself and don't compromise your worth. See, when a man sees a woman who carries herself with standards, with confidence, with dignity, something clicks. You're no longer just another pretty face in the room. You're the woman he can't stop thinking about. Listen, men will chase what they admire, not what they can just have. If you give everything away too quick, attention, time, energy, he ain't got to earn nothing. And if he don't have to earn nothing, he won't value nothing. That's the truth. But when you walk like you know who you are, when you make it clear and tolerating nonsense, when you show that you love yourself enough not to accept less than you deserve, that's when a man looks at you different. That's when he says, wait a minute, this ain't no ordinary woman. I got to step my game up. The move ain't about changing who you are for a man. The move is about loving yourself so deeply that the right man will rise to meet you where you stand. And let me tell you something that's irresistible. Confidence, self-respect, knowing your value, that's the secret sauce. That's the one move. So ladies, stop auditioning for men who ain't even read the script of your life. Set your stage, know your worth, and watch how the right man will not only fall, he'll fall and never want to get back up. Men are simple. Don't overcomplicate them. That's the first thing you need to understand if you're trying to figure out how to connect with them. See, a lot of women spend way too much time trying to decode men like we're some complex novel or a math equation you got to solve. You sit around with your girlfriends, analyzing every little thing he said in a text, rereading his messages like you're studying for an exam, asking, what does this emoji mean? What did he mean by putting a period at the end? Let me tell you right now, most of the time he didn't mean nothing. He typed hit send and went back to eating a sandwich. That's it. Men are not deep like that. We don't have layers and layers of hidden meanings in everything we say. If we say we're hungry, that means we're hungry. If we say we're tired, that means we're tired. Stop giving us more depth than we actually got, because you're going to drive yourself crazy now. Don't get me wrong. Men can surprise you sometimes, but in general, we're straightforward creatures. Our needs and wants don't change every 5 minutes. We don't wake up one day and suddenly decide the whole relationship dynamic needs to shift. No, we usually want 3 things: respect, peace, and a little appreciation. That's it. That's the whole formula. You give a man those 3 things and he'll act like you just handed him the winning lottery ticket. It's not rocket science, but what happens is women think because men act so simple, there's got to be something more to it. You're sitting there waiting for some plot twist that doesn't exist. Let me break it down even more. If you're wondering what makes men tick, think about how we handle problems. When something's wrong, we want to fix it. That's our natural instinct. You tell us, the sink is leaking. We're not about to have a group discussion about the emotional symbolism of water flowing uncontrollably in your life. No, we're grabbing a wrench. That's just how we're wired. And the same thing goes with emotions. When you tell us a problem, our brain immediately goes to, okay, how do we solve this? That's not because we don't care about how you feel, but because our simplicity makes us action-oriented. You can take that as cold or detached, but really, that's our version of love. And listen, when it comes to love, men are simple there too. You don't have to impress us with 20 different tricks. You don't have to bend over backward to figure out the perfect angle to make us fall for you. It's not that complicated. If you look at how men pick their partners, you'll notice it's not about endless requirements. A man isn't sitting there with a long checklist going, okay, she needs to cook like my mama, dress like a movie star, and know how to fix a car. Nah, a man will fall for a woman who makes him feel seen, respected, and valued. And once again, those things are simple. You don't need to overthink it. But here's the problem. Too many women overcomplicate it because they think simplicity means carelessness. They think if men are so simple, then they must not be serious about love. That's not true. Men can be extremely serious about love, but the way we approach it looks different from how women approach it. You all might express love in 100 different colors, sounds, and emotions. Men, on the other hand, pick one brush and one paint color and stick to it. That doesn't mean the painting is less beautiful. It just means it's straightforward. Another way to see how simple we are is to pay attention to what keeps us happy. A man doesn't need 10 different surprises to stay committed. He doesn't need you to constantly invent new ways to keep his attention. If he's with you and he feels respected, cared for, and like he can be himself without being judged, you don't have to worry about him chasing anything else. He'll stay right there, loyal as can be. The people who say men are complicated are usually the ones who keep expecting us to act like women, but we're not women. We don't operate the same way. Where women see layers, men see one path. Where women see hints, men see confusion. Where women see tests, men see reason to leave. So when I say we're simple, I mean it's a gift. It's not a weakness. It means you don't have to stress yourself out with decoding or playing games. Now, let me put this in perspective with how men react to situations. If a man likes you, he likes you. He's not sitting around calculating, well, she said this, so maybe I should wait 3 days before I call. That kind of game playing, that's not us. If a man is into you, he's gonna show you. He'll call, he'll text, he'll make the effort. And if he doesn't, then he's not as into you as you thought. That's the beauty of our simplicity. It gives you clarity. You don't have to live in confusion. When a man wants you, you'll know. When he doesn't, you'll know. Ladies, the biggest mistake you can make is trying to turn a man's simplicity into a puzzle. You'll sit there and say, oh, he didn't call me back because he must be testing me. He must be seeing if I'll chase him.
No.
He didn't call you back because he didn't feel like calling you back. That's it. There's no deeper meaning. You could save yourself so much time and heartache if you just accepted that we mean what we show. If he's pursuing you, then he wants you. If he's not, then he doesn't. Men are simple in love, in communication, in life. That doesn't mean we're shallow. It just means we're direct. So the real question isn't, how do I figure him out? The real question is, am I willing to accept his simplicity for what it is? Because once you do, you'll realize all the energy you've been wasting trying to interpret him could have been spent enjoying the relationship. You don't have to dig for meanings that aren't there. You don't have to chase answers that don't exist. Men are right in front of you, showing you exactly who they are and exactly how they feel. The one move, respect yourself and know your worth. This is the kind of move that doesn't require you to change how you walk, how you talk, or how you look. It doesn't need new clothes, fancy makeup, or the latest hairstyle. This one move comes from the inside, and when you carry it, people notice before you even open your mouth. Respecting yourself means you've set a standard for how you will and will not be treated, and you're not willing to negotiate that standard just to keep somebody around. Too many times, people get caught up in trying to win someone over by bending themselves into shapes they were never meant to fit. You'll accept behavior you don't deserve. You'll tolerate words that hurt. You'll excuse actions that don't match promises. All because you think lowering your standard is the only way to hold on to someone. But here's the truth. Every time you compromise your worth for attention, you teach people how to treat you, and they will treat you exactly as you've taught them. Knowing your worth isn't about being arrogant. It's not about thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about recognizing the value of who you are and refusing to let anyone discount it. Think about it like this. If you walked into a store and saw a luxury handbag marked down to $5, you'd start questioning if it was real. You'd wonder if it was fake, if something was wrong with it, if it was even worth taking home. That's what happens when you discount yourself for someone who doesn't see your value. They stop believing you're as valuable as you are because you've made yourself look cheap in their eyes. But when you hold your price, when you stand firm and refuse to be sold short, people step back and realize they've got to come correct if they want to have you in their life. Respecting yourself also means not begging for love. There's nothing more damaging than trying to convince someone to care about you. If they can't see your value, that's not your problem, that's theirs. Yet so many people waste years chasing after someone who treats them like an option, when in reality being treated like an option is the clearest sign that person doesn't deserve you. Love should never have you competing for attention, proving your worth, or constantly auditioning like you're in a play that never ends. When you know who you are, you understand that real love doesn't ask you to shrink. Real love makes space for your full self. Now here's where it gets powerful when you respect yourself. You don't just change the way other people see you. You change the way you see yourself. You start walking different. You start talking different. You stop chasing validation from others because you already gave it to yourself. That kind of energy is magnetic. People feel it. A man can walk into a room full of women, but the one who knows her worth is the one who captures his attention. She doesn't even have to say much because her presence speaks for her. She's not desperate. She's not overextending. She's not performing to get noticed. She's standing in her truth, and that alone draws people in. And let's be honest, when you don't respect yourself, men notice that too. They notice when you accept excuses instead of actions, when you let inconsistency slide, when you keep giving chance after chance without any change. They notice it, and instead of stepping up, they take advantage of it. That's why the one move that makes any man fall for you isn't a trick, isn't a line, isn't a game. It's simply holding yourself to a standard that requires him to rise up if he wants to be with you. Men value what they have to work for. When something comes too easy, they don't attach worth to it because in their mind, it didn't cost anything. But when a man has to adjust himself, discipline himself, and prove himself to stand beside you, he values the relationship more because it cost him effort. Knowing your worth also means understanding that walking away is sometimes the most powerful move you can make. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you failed. It means you refuse to stay in a situation that didn't honor you. And when a man sees that you're not afraid to walk away from what doesn't serve you, that commands respect. It tells him you're not here to play games, you're not here to waste time, and you're not afraid of being alone until the right person comes along. That kind of strength is attractive because it shows him you're with him by choice, not by need. This is where many people get it wrong. They think if they lower their standards, they'll make it easier for someone to stay. But the truth is, the lower your standards, the faster people leave. Because there's nothing to challenge them, nothing to inspire them, nothing to make them feel like they're part of something worth protecting. Standards are not walls to keep people out. They are filters to keep the wrong ones from wasting your time. Respecting yourself is also about boundaries. Boundaries are not about controlling someone else. They're about protecting your own peace. They're about making sure your energy isn't drained by people who don't contribute anything positive to your life. And when you have boundaries, you stop entertaining nonsense. You stop accepting crumbs when you deserve the whole cake. You stop letting someone's lack of effort become your normal. Boundaries teach people how to treat you, and the right man won't be offended by them. In fact, the right man will respect you more because of them. There's something deeply attractive about a person who has a strong sense of self. It makes you trustworthy. It makes you dependable. It makes you someone a man can build with because he knows you won't compromise your integrity just to keep him happy. Men admire strength in a woman, not the kind of strength that shuts them out, but the kind that says, I know who I am, and I refuse to settle for less than I deserve. That's the kind of strength that makes a man not just want to be with you, but want to rise to his best self beside you. Men chase what they admire, not what's easy. That's the truth that sits at the center of male behavior. And once you understand it, everything starts to make sense. A man may notice what's easy, he may flirt with it, he may even entertain it for a short while. But when it comes to who he truly values, who he truly pursues, and who he stays with, it's always the person he admires. Admiration is the fuel behind commitment. It's the difference between someone he spends time with and someone he invests in. Men are wired to go after what challenges them, what inspires them, what makes them want to become better. Because deep down, every man wants to feel like he's earned something rare. Think about it like this. When you give something to a man without requiring anything from him in return, without effort, without consistency, without proving his intentions, he might take it, but he won't hold on to it with both hands. It didn't cost him anything. And people, not just men, tend to value most what they had to sacrifice or strive for. If something comes with no effort, it feels replaceable. But when a man has to elevate himself to meet the standard of a woman he admires, he attaches a different level of importance to her. She isn't just another person in his life. She becomes the person who shifted how he views himself. Admiration is not about looks alone. A man may be drawn to beauty, but admiration comes from something deeper. A woman who knows her worth, who stands firm in her boundaries, who moves with confidence and purpose, will always command more respect than someone who relies only on appearance. Beauty may catch his eye, but character is what keeps his attention. Men admire strength, resilience, and the ability to say no when something doesn't align with your values. That's the type of energy that makes him rethink how he shows up because he doesn't want to lose access to it. Now, let's be real. Men may chase easy things for fun. They might entertain it because it doesn't ask anything of them. But that's just temporary. There's no growth in easy. There's no fulfillment in something that doesn't require effort. The things that last, the things that stick, are the ones that make him stretch beyond where he is comfortable. And a man wants that, even if he doesn't always admit it. He wants to feel like the woman he's pursuing is someone he can look up to, not just look at. When a man admires you, his behavior changes. He doesn't play with your time because he understands that time is valuable to you. He doesn't feed you empty words because he knows you require action. He doesn't give half effort because he knows half effort won't be enough to keep you. That's the effect admiration has. It sets a tone. It makes him rise to the occasion. It pushes him to become accountable because he knows that what he's chasing is worth it. This is why lowering your standards never works in the long run. If you make it too easy, if you bend too quickly, if you give in without requiring effort, you may get temporary attention, but you won't get long-term respect. He may stay for a season, but he won't build for a lifetime. Because men don't build with what they don't admire. Men protect with what they don't respect. And men don't invest in what didn't require investment from the beginning. There's a certain fire that admiration lights in a man. It's the difference between him saying, she's nice, and him saying, I can't lose her. It's the reason why some men will change habits, shift priorities, and rearrange their lives for one woman while staying complacent with another. The difference isn't luck, it's admiration. When he admires you, he sees you as rare. And when something is rare, it cannot be treated like it's common. Admiration also creates pride. A man wants to be proud of who he's with. He wants to know that when he introduces you to his family, his friends, his coworkers, you represent not just beauty but substance. Men want to be able to say, this is the woman who chose me, and feel honored by that fact. That pride pushes him to guard the relationship more carefully because he knows he's been given something valuable. And here's the thing, admiration isn't about perfection. It's not about being flawless or never making mistakes. It's about consistency. It's about standing firm in who you are, even when it's not convenient. It's about showing that your love for yourself is strong enough that you don't accept less than what aligns with your worth. That kind of consistency earns admiration because it shows strength, and strength always commands respect. Men don't admire what they can manipulate. They don't admire what they can easily control. They don't admire what doesn't challenge them to grow. If you're always available, always giving, always lowering your standards, you're not admired. You're used. But when you hold your ground, when you make it clear that access to you comes with responsibility, you separate yourself from everyone else, that's when admiration is born, and that's when real pursuit begins. A man will chase something easy until he gets tired, but he will pursue what he admires for as long as it takes. That's the difference between temporary interest and long-term commitment. Temporary interest is fueled by convenience. Long-term commitment is fueled by admiration. And if you want a man not just to want you, but to value you, then your focus should never be on being easy to get. It should always be on being someone worth admiring. Don't compromise your standards for attention. That's one of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to relationships, and it's the reason so many end up disappointed. Standards are not there to make life harder. They're there to protect you from wasting your energy on people who are not capable of giving you what you deserve. But when you compromise them, when you lower the bar just because you're afraid of being alone or because you crave attention in the moment, you send a clear message. You don't believe you're worth the things you say you want. And the truth is, people will treat you according to the standards you set for yourself. If you show them you're willing to accept crumbs, they'll stop bringing you the whole cake. Attention and love are not the same thing. Attention is easy. Anybody can give it. A text, like a comment, a casual compliment takes no effort. Love, on the other hand, requires commitment, consistency, and sacrifice. The problem comes when people confuse attention for love and start making decisions based on a few moments of validation. You know when it happens, you start ignoring red flags, excusing poor behavior, or pretending not to see the gaps between their words and their actions, all because it feels good to have someone notice you. But that kind of attention is cheap, and the cost is always your self-respect. When you compromise your standards, what you're really doing is telling yourself that having someone, even someone who doesn't treat you right, is better than having no one. But that's the lie that keeps people stuck in unhealthy cycles. Being alone is not the problem. Being with someone who drains you, disrespects you, or devalues you is the real problem. You can be at peace by yourself, but you can't have peace with someone who doesn't meet the standards you know you deserve. So lowering those standards doesn't give you more. It gives you less. It gives you emptiness dressed up as companionship. There's something powerful about a person who refuses to compromise. When you stand firm, you send out a different kind of energy. You attract people who are serious because they know they can't come to you half prepared. And at the same time, you repel people who only want to play games Because games won't work on someone who knows exactly what they're worth. But the moment you compromise, the wrong people slip through the cracks. They realize they don't have to do much to get your attention, so they don't do much. And before long, you find yourself carrying the whole relationship on your back while they enjoy the benefits. Some people think that having standards makes you demanding or difficult, but that's not true. Having standards just means you have clarity. You know what kind of treatment aligns with your values and what kind doesn't. It doesn't mean you expect perfection. It means you expect effort. And there's nothing wrong with expecting effort. The wrong people will call your standards too high because they don't want to reach them. The right people will see your standards as motivation to show up the way they should. That's the difference. When you compromise, you start justifying behavior you wouldn't normally tolerate. You start saying things like, well, at least he texts me sometimes, or she doesn't really support me, but she's busy, or maybe I'm asking for too much. That's how it begins, by convincing yourself to accept less than you deserve. But the truth is, the longer you accept less, the harder it becomes to demand more, because you've trained yourself to settle, and once you settle, you lose the very respect you were hoping to gain. People don't admire what comes cheap, and they don't commit to what they don't have to work for. Attention is temporary. It fades. It shifts to the next shiny thing. But real love, real partnership, real connection, those things are lasting, and they require standards to flourish. Think about a house. If the foundation is weak, it doesn't matter how beautiful the walls are. The house will eventually collapse. Your standards are your foundation. They hold everything up. If you compromise them, the whole structure falls apart. But when you build with strong standards, you create something stable that can withstand pressure. It's not easy to hold your standards, especially when loneliness creeps in or when everyone around you seems to be settling. It can feel like you're being left behind while others are moving forward. But here's the truth. Moving forward with the wrong person isn't progress. It's a delay. You'll spend years trying to fix something that was broken from the start, all because you didn't want to wait for what you truly deserved. And during that time, the right opportunities, the right people, the right love can pass you by because you were too busy holding on to something you should have let go. Don't confuse patience with compromise. Waiting for what aligns with your worth is not the same as lowering your standards to fill a void. Patience builds strength. Compromise breaks it down. And a man can always tell the difference between someone who holds herself with patience and someone who is desperate for attention. Patience says, I know my value and I won't accept less. Desperation says, I'll take whatever you give me as long as I'm not alone. One is magnetic, the other is repellent. Respect comes from consistency. If you say you have standards but you don't enforce them, no one will believe you. People don't listen to what you say, they watch what you do. If your actions don't match your words, they'll take advantage of the gap. They'll test you, and if they find out you'll bend, they'll keep pushing until you break. That's why holding firm to your standards is not just about how others treat you. It's about how you treat yourself. Every time you compromise, you weaken your own self-respect. Every time you hold firm, you strengthen it, and the stronger your self-respect, the stronger the relationships you attract. Confidence and self-respect are irresistible. That's the kind of energy that can't be faked, can't be manufactured, and can't be borrowed from somebody else. It comes from within, and when you carry it, people feel it the moment you step into a room. Confidence is not about walking around acting like you're better than everybody else. It's about being secure in who you are, even when everything isn't perfect. It's about standing tall in your own skin, knowing your value doesn't decrease just because someone else doesn't see it. Self-respect is the guardrail that keeps you from settling, the voice that tells you when something doesn't align with your worth, and the strength that allows you to walk away from situations that diminish you. Put those two together and you create a presence that is magnetic. When a person moves with confidence, they don't chase validation because they already validate themselves. They don't need 100 compliments to believe they look good. They already know they do. They don't need constant reassurance to believe they're capable. They already walk like they belong. That kind of mindset shifts the way people respond to you. Men in particular are drawn to it because it sends a message that you're not relying on them to define your happiness. You're already whole, already complete, already standing firm. And a man respects that because it shows him you're with him by choice, not by desperation. Confidence isn't about being loud. It's not about being the center of attention. It's about the quiet assurance that you're enough. A woman with confidence can sit in a room full of people and not say a word, and still she will be noticed. Why? because confidence leaks out in your body language, your eye contact, the way you carry yourself. When you respect yourself, you set boundaries without apology. And boundaries are attractive because they show you're not available to just anybody, you're selective. And being selective makes you more valuable. Scarcity creates value, and when you pair that with confidence, you naturally draw the right kind of attention. Men admire women who respect themselves because it makes the relationship clear. It tells him right away what will and won't fly. It tells him that he can't play games, he can't bring half effort, he can't come with empty words. A woman with self-respect won't even allow the wrong type of energy near her, and that's what makes her irresistible. She's not waiting to see if someone will treat her right. She requires it from the start. And the truth is, when you require respect from the beginning, you eliminate a lot of wasted time. You stop entertaining people who aren't serious because they realize quickly they can't slide by with the bare minimum. Confidence also makes you attractive because it communicates independence. It shows that you don't need someone else to complete you. And that's what flips the script in relationships, because instead of begging for love, you're offering love from a place of fullness. You're not trying to fill a hole with someone else's presence. You're sharing your completeness with them. That kind of energy makes people want to stay, because being around someone who is confident and respectful of themselves makes them feel better about themselves too. It's contagious. It uplifts the room. Now, self-respect goes hand in hand with confidence. You can't have one without the other. You can be confident in your appearance, your talents, your skills, but without self-respect, that confidence won't last. Self-respect is what makes you say no to situations that drain you. It's what makes you walk away when someone isn't matching your effort. It's what keeps you grounded when temptation comes to settle for less just because it's available. People who respect themselves never let desperation guide their choices. They'd rather wait alone than compromise with the wrong one. That decision-making power is what makes them irresistible, because it shows discipline and strength. When a man meets a woman who respects herself, he instantly knows he can't come in sloppy. He can't cut corners. He can't play inconsistent. He can't think his charm alone will carry him. He knows he's got to step correctly, because anything less will get shut down. That awareness makes him elevate his behavior if he's serious. And if he's not serious, it makes him walk away. Either way, self-respect protects you, and protection is priceless. Confidence also eliminates fear. It doesn't mean you never feel nervous or insecure, but it means you don't let those feelings control you. You step forward anyway, you speak up anyway, you claim your place anyway. That courage is attractive because people are drawn to those who move boldly. And when you respect yourself, your courage is backed by standards, which means you don't just move boldly in life, you move wisely. Boldness without wisdom is recklessness, but boldness with self-respect is power. What makes confidence and self-respect irresistible together is the balance they create. Confidence makes you shine outwardly, while self-respect secures you inwardly. One says, I know I belong here, and the other says, I won't accept less than I deserve here. It's that combination that sets you apart, because plenty of people can fake confidence for a while, but without self-respect, it falls apart. Eventually, the mask slips, but when both are real, they can't be shaken by rejection, by loneliness, or by temporary setbacks. They're steady. And steadiness is one of the most attractive qualities you can carry. People may be drawn to looks, to style, to surface level traits, but what makes them stay is the substance behind those things. Confidence and self-respect provide that substance. They make a person not only attractive, but admirable. They make you someone people don't just want to be with, but someone they want to be like. That's why when a man encounters a woman with confidence and self-respect, she doesn't just capture his interest, she earns his respect. And respect is the foundation of lasting connection. The right man will rise to meet your value. That's one of the most important truths to hold on to when it comes to relationships. Too often people spend energy trying to drag someone up to their level, trying to mold them, change them, or inspire them into treating them better. But here's the reality. If someone is the right person for you, they won't need to be convinced, they won't need to be begged, they won't need constant reminders. They will see your value and adjust themselves accordingly. The right man, when he recognizes what you bring to the table, will rise to meet that standard without you having to lower yourself to make it easier for him. A man who truly values you will see your boundaries not as obstacles, but as guidelines. He won't get offended that you respect yourself. He'll respect you more for it. He'll understand that your standards aren't about making his life harder. They're about protecting your peace and your worth. And instead of trying to negotiate you down, instead of trying to see how much he can get away with, he will rise up and show you that he can be the partner you deserve. That's what separates the right man from the wrong one. The wrong man will always make you feel like you're asking for too much. The right man will make you feel like you weren't asking for enough because he'll do even more than you expected. When a man rises to meet your value, you don't have to explain why you won't tolerate disrespect. He already knows. You don't have to repeat why consistency matters. He shows up consistently. You don't have to keep pointing out the same behavior. He corrects it before it becomes a pattern. That's what rising looks like. It's growth, it's effort, it's accountability. It's a man saying, I see who you are, and I want to be better so I can stand beside you. And that kind of energy creates stability because it means you're not carrying the whole relationship on your back. He's carrying his share too, and sometimes even more, because he doesn't want you to feel like you're in it alone. This is where patience comes in. A lot of people end up settling for someone who refuses to rise because they get tired of waiting. They think, maybe he'll change later, or maybe if I just love him enough, he'll grow. But growth doesn't work like that. A man has to want to rise. He has to see your value and decide for himself that you're worth the effort. You can't make him want to grow. You can't make him respect you. You can't make him show up. The wrong man will stay the same no matter how much you give because he doesn't see the need to do more. The right man, on the other hand, won't be able to stay the same once he realizes the blessing he has in front of him. Rising to your value doesn't mean perfection. The right man won't suddenly become flawless. What it does mean is effort. It means he's willing to listen, to learn, to correct himself, and to become better over time. He may not get it right immediately, but his commitment to growth will be obvious. You'll be able to see his actions lining up with his intentions, and that's what matters. No one gets everything right from the start, but when someone truly values you, they won't stop trying until they do better. It's also important to realize that when the right man rises to meet your value, it's not just about the relationship. It's about him becoming a better man overall. Your presence, your standards, your example, it pushes him to elevate in other areas of his life too. He becomes more disciplined, more focused, more intentional, not just with you, but with his career, his health, his goals, because admiration always sparks growth. And when he admires you, he won't just rise for you, he'll rise for himself. That's one of the most powerful things about choosing the right partner. You don't just inspire love, you inspire transformation. Now, some women fear that holding high value will scare men away. And it's true, it will, but only the wrong ones. The men who were never serious, the ones who wanted convenience without commitment, the ones who thought they could slide by with the bare minimum, they'll disappear when faced with your standards. And that's not a loss, that's a blessing. Because the ones who stay, the ones who rise, the ones who step up, those are the men who actually deserve you. Your value doesn't drive away the right man, it filters him out from the wrong ones. It's natural to wonder if you're asking too much, especially if you've been told that before. But think about it, if asking for respect, consistency, honesty, and effort feels like too much, what does that say about the people who told you that? Those are the basics of love. Those are the fundamentals of partnership. The right man won't see those things as extra. He'll see them as the starting point. He'll rise to meet them and then add more. Because his goal isn't to do the minimum to keep you, it's to give his maximum so you feel secure. Rising to your value is also about emotional maturity. The right man won't avoid tough conversations, he'll have them with you. He won't run when things get hard, he'll work through them with you. He won't make you question where you stand. He'll make sure you know it without doubt. That level of maturity is what allows love to last because feelings alone aren't enough to hold a relationship together. Action, consistency, and commitment are what keep it strong. The truth is, the right man will never make you lower yourself to be loved. He'll make you raise your head higher. He'll make you proud to be who you are because he'll celebrate it instead of trying to diminish it. He'll see your value, honor it, and make sure his actions align with it. And the beauty of it all is that when you meet the right man, you don't have to force any of this. It flows naturally. His rise is voluntary because he sees you as someone worth rising for.